Hello, Daryl here from FarFromStock. We are in the garage. I just got done working, so we're going to break open a beverage here and we're going to talk about wheel spacers. And man, do we hear crap about wheel spacers. Not safe, they will do this, won't do that, problems with your truck, blah, 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 wheel spacers. Now, first of all, there's nothing wrong with wheel spacers as long as certain things are followed. This is a wheel spacer from our website, FarFromStockStore.com. 3-inch spacer. That's a big spacer. This is bigger than most people want unless you're specifically doing something that you want 3 inches, or you have a truck that's nice and ready for a 3-inch wheel spacer. This is an inch and a half wheel spacer, and it's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. But it's so narrow that on some trucks you might have to clip your old studs off to make these work. But there's a big range, 1.5 inches to 3 inch. That's about as small as you want to go, and it's about as big as you want to go, unless you're doing a dually adapter or something like a set of H1 Humvee wheels that have real deep rear spacing. You could even go bigger than that. So what we hear about is they're not safe, or they're going to break their hubs or wear out their wheel ball joints, or wearing out their front end parts real quick. These are going to change the characteristics of the front of your truck to a degree, but no more than a set of wide wheels. Now, if you're going to go with 14-inch wide wheels and a 3-inch spacer, yes, you're putting your front end under new stresses and strains, but if it's a heavy-duty truck and you got good parts, it should be just fine. The wheel spacer itself that we sell is the highest quality, billet aluminum, machine 61 or better material. It's not going to break. This is not what you don't trust. This thing's a trustworthy chunk of metal that will hold a truck up. So this spacer, being a high quality, good spacer, is not your cheapest spacer. We sell them for more money because they cost more money and they're nicer spacers, and you definitely get to buy peace of mind with this spacer from FarFromStockStore.com, because this spacer itself is not going to give you any trouble. Just like any wheel that you ever take off your truck and put back on, the shop's going to say, retorque your wheel after 500 miles. Everybody that goes to a shop and gets their wheels pulled off their truck and put back on, it says it on the receipt. Retorque your wheels. Well, guess what? Now you have a new wheel on here to retorque. So theoretically, you'd put this on your truck, torque it, put your wheel on, torque it, drive 500 miles, pull your wheel off, retorque this, put your wheel back on, 500 miles later, retorque your wheel. This is now lifetime attached to your vehicle. It's not coming loose, it's not going to wobble, and if you're torquing your wheels and retorquing these things, they're perfectly safe and perfectly fine. Unit bearings are part of the problem. So are ball joints. You got a Dodge Ram 3/4 ton truck and you drive it all the time, you're doing ball joints every year. Ball joints cost money. Yes, Moog will do lifetime, but you're still going to have to switch them out. Even they're going to give you a free set, because they're not lifetime lasting. They're just going to give you a warranty that lasts a lifetime, because they know you're going to sell your truck anyways. You're going to replace them one set, they don't mind giving you free ones. But let's say you have a unit bearing that goes out, and you learn because your truck drives bad and your analog brake light comes on, and you replace your unit bearing. Then you have a ball joint set start to wear, and your tires start wearing, and you get new ball joints. Now your lifetime warranty ball joints are wearing out again. So now you're buying a second set. All that cost you more in tire wear than it was worth to put up with any of that crap. When you buy a Dodge truck, especially, much less a Ford, 3/4 ton, 1 ton, get a set of spin-free hubs, so your wheel bearing is now a lifetime part. And then we like to sell Dynatrac ball joints on these trucks. They're not really a lifetime part, but compared to a replacement, even a Moog ball joint, these things are going to last for most of the use of your truck. They're rebuildable, but no one cares about that. Who wants to rebuild a part? They're much, much stronger. So if you were to buy Dynatrac ball joints, a Yukon spin-free hub kit, and these spacers from FarFromStockStore.com, now you're talking about a front end that's ready to go, and who cares? Buy the 3-inch, they're going to be fine. That Yukon spin-free full float style, real spindle, real wheel bearing hub is going to be fine with these. It doesn't care. So you just have to think it through. If you space your wheel out, or you buy a wider wheel, You're all talking about a couple of inches in a truck that's wide, and an axle that's wide, and a wheel that's wide. It doesn't care that you've got a 2-inch spacer on. Again, these are a little extreme. I don't recommend 3-inch spacers to anybody unless you're doing something specific that calls for it. There's nothing wrong with them. I'd run them on my truck if I needed to. Just don't need to. Don't really want to. I don't think it'll improve the looks or anything, but a 2-inch, that's a normal spacer. Fine on almost any truck there is, as long as your parts are in good condition. Another thing about spacers and what they do or don't hurt. We've talked a lot about front axles and unit bearings and ball joints and that kind of thing, but 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks almost all have a full floating rear axle. If you have a full floating rear axle and it's in good condition, which they run in gear oil, so they pretty much are, as long as they don't have 300,000 miles and haven't ever been looked at, your axle is not going to know about the spacer at all. 3-inch, 2-inch, 1.5 inch, whatever, you will not have any issue from a rear axle. So when you have thoughts about, do I want to put a spacer on my truck, what's it going to wear, what's it not going to wear? You got a full floating rear axle, forget about the rear. I'm not going to do a thing. The only thing to think about is in the front. And again, it's more about parts in good condition than how wide your wheels are, or how wide your spacers are, or what parts you go with. Got to have some good condition.